Hi, boys and girls. Okay, last week we drew our penguins. This week we are going to be coloring them in. I want you to start with crayons and get the things that need to be, colored in. So like his beak should be orange, his feet should be orange, and you don't have to worry about staying in the lines down here because we're going to cut this out anyway, but I'm trying to stay in the lines, but you really don't have to. Once you have his feet colored and you have his scarf colored and his hat, then I want you to take the Sharpies, and the only part we're going to do with Sharpie is make sure, and some of you already did this, make sure that this part of his eyes, because this is kind of hard to paint in, we're not going to try to paint in this area, just use your Sharpie to make sure his eye looks bright like this so that the black part is black and the white parts are white. And then we're going to use watercolors to do his head and his body, because the Sharpies will not last if we use them for that whole area. Okay, and it's a lot quicker. We need to get this done today because we're going to be taking a picture. Okay, so once you've done that, you've colored in your scarf, and you need to be quick about this. I'm just going to color my whole scarf purple. You can color yours any color you want. All right. I love purple. It's my favorite color. So I've got my scarf almost done. I want my hat to match, so I'm going to make my hat purple. And I'm going to leave the top part of my hat white, because I like white too. I'm going to leave this part white and this part white and just make the top part purple. Okay. Now I'm ready to paint. So you're going to need a water dish for each table. We're just going to share those. Everybody needs just the black because that's the only thing we're going to paint today. We're going to take the black paint and we're going to go around real carefully here, go around his body like so. If you, it's not a big deal. If I get out of the lines over here, I don't even care, because what's going to happen? I'm going to cut that out, so I don't care. So this is kind of some easy painting. The place you do care about, though, when you're painting, is when you're going around his face. So right here, this line right here, you want to be careful that you don't get into the white part of his face. You can go out of the lines here, but be careful on that face part, okay? I'm just going to paint this right here real fast, and then it's time for me to cut him out, okay? I've got a few puddles here. I'm just kind of trying to mop up the puddles. If you have some puddles like that, just take your brush and brush some of that water off. You maybe got too much water in it, okay? If yours doesn't look dark enough, you just need a little bit more paint maybe. There. I like the way he looks. I actually like that it's not all one solid black. I like that it's kind of a grayish black. Okay. Now I am ready to start cutting. And you want to cut right along your Sharpie lines. I might cut a little bit wider right here because I don't want to cut off my little fringes, but if you change your mind on the fringes, you could just cut those off. Follow your lines. If it's getting too tricky here, I mean, you can take that piece out. Sometimes going from the other direction is easier. If you made your little pom-pom wiggly, then you got to cut wiggly lines. So whatever direction you drew yours, that's what you got to cut. Okay. If you decide, oh my word, this is too hard, you can make his hat just be like this. Okay. And make some decisions at the end that make it easier for you. All right. And I'm just going to keep cutting this down. I'm having to be careful because the paper is wet here, so it doesn't cut as easy when it's wet. But because we're low on time, we got to cut it even with it being wet. And then you're going to glue this onto your background. The feet are probably going to be the most challenging cutting, right? Because we got to go back and forth and back and forth. And my paper is just a little bit flimsy because it's wet, so I'm not able to do it as easily. Oops, don't bend your feet. Maybe I'll start from this direction. That might be easier. I'm going to cut in, and then cut in, and then I just have to cut out that piece. That worked. And this, you could cut off the majority of it, and then wiggle your scissors around. Okay, once you have it cut out, throw those scraps away, and you're going to glue it onto your swirly, twirly background that we made last week, okay? When you glue it on, flip over your penguin, put all of your glue on the back side of the penguin. You're just going to go around the outsides. You don't really need any in the middle. Just go around the outside, and then you'll stick that down on your swirly, curly background, and then bring that up to Mrs. Walker so we can take a picture up by the at the front of the room where the paper is hanging up that has all of the ornaments on it. Okay?